Those bottle caps of Coca-Cola.
All right. Hey, everybody, and welcome to Imagine Your Goddess's Podversation for the week of October 20th, 2015. This is Matt Diesel taking over as ipso facto podfather for the day. With me, I've got Makuto.
That's me.
And Ash is with me as well.
Hey, guys.
We got a lot of stuff to talk about today. We're trying another format change just to see how things are going. Remember that if you guys like any changes that we make or don't like any changes that we make, you can always leave a message on the YouTube channel or leave a message in group chat, and we will do our best to fix things as we go. Say again, Minner?
So we won't do it again?
Yeah. We'll make sure that we do it again. Only worse. Only not quite as good.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and get started. We want to start this time around by asking what everybody's watching. What is everybody doing in the world of TV that they enjoy? Why don't you start us off, Ash?
Well, I guess I'll mention some of the new anime seasons started. I'll try to mention some shows that I don't think either Diesel or Makuto will mention that I think are interesting. As always, I think most of the seasons are interesting. But in particular this season, I'm really enjoying the new Gundam series, Iron-Blooded Orphans. It takes place on Mars, follows a bunch of child soldiers. I think it's nice and gritty, and it's kind of a return to old-fashioned Gundam, in a sense. At least I feel that way. The last couple Gundam series that weren't movies have been pretty, more aimed at kids, I believe, or I feel so. And I think this is a nice return to kind of it feels like a darker Gundam. Another show that I'm quite enjoying, I would say, gosh, it's so hard to choose. This is so many shows I won't really enjoy. Well, I guess like the 35th Platoon, Anti-Magic Academy of Platoon. It's based off a novel series. Basically, your old, misfits military group that, now they got a new member and they're going around doing whatever they're doing. And kind of feels harem-y, but I haven't really read up fully on the source, so I'm not sure where that's going to go. But I do like the kind of early 20th century military vibe that it's given out. So hopefully it'll be a really fun show to do.
All right. While we're on the subject of harem, I guess I'll talk about one of my two. I've really been enjoying Failed Knight, which is sort of an action-adventure, sort of harem anime about a guy who has little magical aptitude trying to become a magical knight, and the hurdles that get in his way because he's not blessed with natural ability here. He's just got to work super hard. I really enjoy the series, and what's funny to me about the harem aspect of it, it's a lot more like Tenchi, where the characters are still interesting and they're not just there to motivate the main character. They have their own storylines and legitimate problems of their own. But sometimes I do feel slightly ashamed trying to watch. The other anime that I've been really enjoying is One Punch Man. I seem to be the only person in this little group, this little trio, who is enjoying One Punch Man. But it's a story about a guy who 3 years prior decides to try to be a superhero and become the strongest in order to defeat the villains of his town as a hobby. And 3 years later, he is the strongest. He beats everybody in one punch, and he's sort of jaded with the fact that nobody can keep up with him, and that he kind of lives a normal life outside of being a superhero. and it's boring to him, which makes everything hilarious when he tries to get excited. And we lost Minter right before Makuto could tell us his picks. He disappeared.
Oh, well, maybe he'll come back and we can just cut to him for a little bit.
That sounds like it's a fair idea. Also, while we're at it, what are you playing this season, Ash?
Video game wise, I've started playing League again. It's been I was a player in beta and been on and off over the years, but played pretty seriously again. I've probably spent about $500 since coming back in the past month, 2 months. So it's crazy how those microtransactions adds up. But
hold on, wait. Just to be clear, did you say that you spent $500 on League of Legends?
Probably at least that much in the past 2 months alone. I've spent thousands on the game over the years, but
wow. I am going to hardcore murder you.
What? What's wrong?
Oh man, nothing. I mean, if you're enjoying yourself, I'm not going to give you too much grief about it. That seems like an absurdly large amount of money to spend on one game. But I mean, who am I to talk? I buy cases of cards on occasion. I usually do that to sell them, but
yeah.
Minner, what are you watching and what are you playing?
All right, what I'm watching. Well, right now I'm watching a lot of old episodes of Conan, one of my best shows, favorite shows ever.
So good.
Yeah, that's Detective Conan. If you don't know, he's a detective.
Okay.
Another show I'm watching is really getting into Ace of Diamonds.
Is that the baseball one?
Yeah, the baseball one, yeah. The second season started, I guess, maybe 2 seasons ago, and it's getting pretty good. Just with the teams they play against, and I don't know, I like it. It's baseball, it's anime.
Very nice.
As for new shows, let's see, what do I like that's new? I am watching, what's that show called, Lou? Like Uta something or other?
Watermono?
Yeah, Watermono. It's like it's like a anime set in the other world that was in some other show back in the day, I guess. But I didn't watch the original one, but this one's pretty good. It's about this guy who kind of wakes up and doesn't know where he is, and he's being attacked by this giant monster, and he gets saved by this cat girl. And she kind of uses this rule where since she saved him, he's like indebted to her now. So she just kind of moves him along in this world, and he kind of like, oh, I don't want to do that, but just like, you're doing it anyway. Mainly because everyone in this world is stronger than him, because they're all cat people, and he's just a human person, so. It's pretty good so far. I don't know, hopefully it gets better. It's kind of moving kind of slow right now, but I kind of like that about it, I guess. Another show I'm enjoying is Comet Lucifer. That show's also going really slow, but it's about this kid. I guess he mines for rocks on this planet. I can't remember what the planet's called. Like, that's a weird name, but he finds this girl in a shaft, and it turns out that she's like the heart of the planet or something. And there's giant robots, so it's kind of like a Gundam type series, but not really. That's good too. I'm watching it. I'll see if it gets any better, but who knows.
All right, so between us, we have murder mystery, harems, action anime, and giant robots. Giant robots. It sounds a lot like Vanguard. It really does.
Yeah.
Vanguard players love all those things. I think most of them, anyway.
Yeah.
But before we get on the topic of Vanguard, and we'll probably hold that for the last bit. What are you playing, Minner?
What I'm playing right now, I am playing Hearthstone. I didn't want to play it at first, just because it was, I don't know, on my phone. I like to be on my phone all day, but it's pretty good. I played a lot at work, just because it's quick and easy, and if I don't want to play, I can just quit. So not a big deal. But the game I'm really enjoying right now is Mario Maker. I don't know if any of you guys haven't played that. It's the Wii U game for Mario where you can make your own levels. The level creator. Wait, what were you saying?
I was gonna say, more importantly, you can play other people's made
levels.
Yeah.
Yeah, so to get to that, like the level creator is really good, but the main thing of the game is playing other people's levels, which is awesome. Some of them are really good, solid Mario levels, and then you have these, I call them like puzzle levels.
Yeah. We lost him. Well, while he tries to come back to let us know what he was talking about, one of the things about Mario Maker that's interesting to me, it's like a Mario version of Little Big Planet. Hey, Makuto, we lost you for a second.
Yeah, the only thing about doing this at my house is I got really bad connection here for some reason.
Right. So you were saying puzzle levels?
Yeah, what I like best are puzzle levels, which are people make these levels where each section has its own kind of puzzle that you have to solve to get to the next part. Whether it's you have to find a hidden box that has a shell in it that you have to throw a certain way, or you have to bring a P block from like 3 screens away and hit it at the right time so you can get past a certain area. Some of them are pretty ingenious when you're playing, and you're like, this is really interesting. And then there are like the troll levels where people just throw like a bunch of bad guys, and you have to kind of luck your way through.
Yeah.
Those ones aren't as fun. They're just kind of, it's just like a lot of stuff, and you're just like, yeah, this isn't really interesting. But there's also these auto levels where you don't push any buttons, you're just kind of watching it go by. And those are more, you're just kind of looking at the skill it took to, or probably even the time, really, for them to come up with all the little things that your guy goes through. But he makes it unscathed, and it's all automatic. Like, you don't have to push anything. It's kind of interesting to watch.
Another cool thing about automatic Mario levels is a lot of them are set to songs.
Yeah, that too, yeah.
So, like, you can, I saw one that was amazing. It was a four split screen doing 4 different automatic Mario levels, but when you put them all together, it's all the parts of "Don't Stop Me Now" by Queen.
Oh wow! Yeah.
It sounds really cool. So yeah, I like Mario Maker. I noticed that there's definitely a sadistic streak to some of the levels being made.
Yeah, especially if you play on the expert like game mode, it just kind of gives you all the troll levels like automatically, like you're just playing troll levels.
Oh man, I couldn't do it. It would drive me nuts.
Yeah, of course, yeah. So you really have to go on YouTube or watch streams to get the codes for some really good levels. Because sometimes people play really good levels on there, and then you can get the codes and play them yourself.
Yeah. And then Ash, you just played, or you just bought Mario Maker as well, right?
Yeah, I don't really play it. Well,
He bought it so I could play it.
Oh, okay. I see. That makes sense. I have also been playing Hearthstone recently, and if anyone who's listening to our last conversation can recall, we were talking about they were trying to sell it to me, like tell me how to do it, and I was like, no, I don't like the RNG. I can't get over it. And then a couple Sundays ago, I was so bored that I had absolutely nothing to do. So I picked up Hearthstone and started playing it, and basically got over my issues with the RNG. Like they still exist. I'm still not a fan of some of the problems that are inherent to the game. But as far as balance goes, you can't ask for a much more balanced game. Like, the only thing about the game that isn't balanced is every once in a while your opponent RNGs into an awesome 7-drop or something like that, you know. but it looks like they try really hard, and I appreciate that extra effort being thrown in to make sure that I'm not playing the same S tier deck over and over and over again. So yeah, I've been enjoying that. Okay, let's get on the topic of Force of Will. Makuto, I know that you don't have a lot to add in when it comes to Force of Will. Maybe you can play the part of Koheleth for us, and just tell us how stupid and broken the meta decks are.
I don't even play any decks. Like, I wouldn't know. Like,
No, it's okay. It's every time that I say a ruler's name, just yell OP.
Oh, okay.
Because that'll push things along.
Is that what he says? I never heard him say anything about them being broken.
No, I'm just kidding.
That'd be funny though if that's what he did.
Yeah. So just to let people know, the set that just came out, SKL, is Seven Kings something. Is the newest set of Force of Will. It has 2 new Alices. It's got a bunch of different Seven Kings, and it's got a bunch of new format-changing cards, including regalias for each of the 7 kings. The regalias are all 0 cost, and they all have stupidly good effects, except for maybe 2. And
OP.
yeah. OP, yeah. And they've definitely changed the way the game is played. But to talk about meta, before I talk about specific decks, I think the thing that should be noted is that the game has slowed down from the Baja Blast issue that we were talking about before. Control decks definitely have a better shot now, because there are cards that prohibit Baja from going off first turn, and it gives you some option to make your deck work, which is a good thing. It's a good thing for the format to slow down. I don't feel like it's slowed down enough, but it has slowed down, and I think that's important to note. So, Ash, why don't you tell us about the deck that you built?
I mean, I guess technically I have a Valkyrie Alice deck. I really am trying to work out something with Saint, though, because I think she's the one with the 1500 defense. I think that's really interesting, and I really love to play a defensive deck that kind of just stalls out for the win and is able to beat like any win condition. But still kind of working out the kinks of that. I don't really play Force of Will enough to really get into the competitive scene as much, though. So I can't say there haven't been attempts to. But I ended up getting a Valkyrie Alice deck together, and it's kind of one of those fairy tale decks, which you will see again in Twilight Wanderer, from what it seems. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. Focuses on the Valkyries, and which I find are the most interesting aesthetically and ability-wise from the set. Lore-wise, too, I found it really interesting that they brought back Snow White and Cinderella from where we left them off in Grimm. So, and I'm digging designs.
Translation: Valkyries are purdy.
Essentially.
So, yeah, Vu's Valkyrie deck is set to be pretty aggro-focused. It runs Snow White and Cinderella. It runs Little Scout and Deep Blue. And it basically is doing red, blue, green aggro. Just push out the creatures, get Alice flipped, and do as much damage as possible for the win as quickly as possible. The version I play of Valkyrie is more of a control build. I added green so I could add a little Guardian, and so that I can sideboard in Zeke's. And that's been working really well against a lot of the big combo decks right now. I like it a lot because you get one creature out and with Deep Blue a turn, so you can pull out Little Guardian when you need to, and just say whatever big creature you thought you were going to hurt me with does no damage until end of turn. Good job. And that's at instant speed, so you can do it whenever you need to. Also, out of SKL, I built Machina, the robot super aggro. It usually wins on turn 3 if it's going to win at all. Like it's definitely a one push or you're dead kind of thing. It's not easy to come back with, and it dies pretty heavy to heavy red control. But the format of it is really cool. It's like really fun to just go ramp first 3 turns and play out 2 or 3 machines, and then on turn 4, drop 3 more machines, throw a March of the Machine Lord out there, and swing with everything for 4,000 exactly. I mean, that's always fun, right? OTKs, you like them, Ash?
Alright.
What about you, Health Machina?
Yeah, OP.
Yeah, he did it.
First I was like, what am I supposed to say? And I was like, oh yeah, OP.
Yeah, yep. My favorite ruler from the new set is Prisia. Prisia is the Saint Beast deck. That's not what they call them. They call them the 4 Sacred Beasts. But they're the Saint Beast from Chinese legend. They're the Phoenix, the Dragon, the Lion, or the Tiger, and the Turtle. And they all get bonuses off each other's, kind of like slivers in Magic, or allies more likely in Magic. And I really like that deck. You ramp, you get up to 9 mana, you play 4 creatures up on board, and you just go ham to their face. In the meantime, they've got really big creatures that they have to deal with every single turn. I like deck effects like that. You know anything about Valentina, Ash? You want to talk about Valentina a little bit?
No, I've actually not. I don't even know what she does. I know Koalov has one of those decks, and apparently it's really good. I know Matt Cosnorm or whatever plays it too.
I think you would like Valentina for if you're looking to control the field forever, because Valentina's build is very set on just kind of holding back and keeping your opponent from doing stuff while you ping at them for 200 a turn for a while, and then eventually you take their biggest creature, use it against them, and just win. Just go out and ham and win. It plays a lot like my Alice Valkyrie deck, except it's got mind control, which is good. So the meta, what I was saying about the meta of SKL is that it's slowed down a lot because it stopped Baja Blast. But one of the things I like about Twilight Wanderer, which is the new set coming out, is it looks like they're going to try to keep it even slower. Because we have one of the cards that's been spoiled is a new Regalia, but it costs something. It costs 2. So you can't just dump the Regalia from your hand. You've actually got to play it. Which is, I think, a good notion. It makes it so that things are starting to fan out. They're also making a new Alice that works with fairies. Not fairy tales, but fairies. And I'm interested to see how that turns out.
It was good.
Yeah, it's gonna be another 5-color deck. It looks like, because the new Regalia that goes with her taps for all colors. So I mean, we'll see, I guess. Uh, I don't know much about Twilight Wanderer other than that, and I heard a little bit about the storyline. Basically, an Alice doppelganger shows up, helps kill most of the Seven Kings, and imprison the other ones, turn them evil. So we might be seeing dark versions of some of the Seven Kings. But other than that, we haven't gotten a lot of word on that, so maybe that's something to talk about on another cast. Is there anything you want to add?
No. Well, I think it's really cool. It looks like they're having Schrodinger's cat being in the set, so that's pretty interesting.
Schrodinger's cat is going to be a regalia for the doppelganger Alice, which is really funny. But yeah, the art looks good. The presentation looks good. I'm curious to see what the cards do. Once I know what the cards do, I'll have a better idea of what we're in for. So, real quick, is there any new Vice Short stuff that we should talk about? None?
Can't think of anything.
Okay.
What
Well, about Vice Shorts?
Yeah.
I talked about it being lame and mostly luck-based.
Oh, you know, okay.
What'd you talk about?
I don't remember.
Oh, okay. So we'll move from Vice Shorts for now. Our resident Vice Shorts player hasn't seen anything new that interests him, so we'll come back to it when we do. Then I guess it's time to talk about Vanguard, and most specifically, GB04. The what's it called? I don't even know what the name of the set is. I always call them by their set names.
Soul Strike against the Supreme, I think.
There it is. Soul Strike against the Supreme. All right. G4 came out, 3 weeks ago? Almost 4?
End of September, I think.
Yeah. So, and it's been pretty strong. I really like I'm excited about some of the new things. I'm sure that if Mercenary King were here, he would talk about the additions to Mega Colony, the boosts that Mega Colony got. Very many paralyze effects. A Vanguard that can paralyze the Vanguard and a Stride that can prevent your opponent from re-riding during their ride phase. So you can stun their Vanguard and make sure that it doesn't unstun. Lots of really cool effects out of Mega Colony in this new set. What do you think, Ash?
I've been really digging the Angel Feathers, Gabrielle in particular. It's been pretty cool. I mean, I like her cutesy design, but I also think that she has a pretty decent ability. And though I think that as a Gabriel, the G4 that heals is kind of lackluster. I mean, sure, I guess she's worth a triple rare slot, and she does kind of fit with Angel Feathers. And I think it's one of the few ways in the game to actually outright heal, regardless of what damage you're at. So that's pretty cool too. But I feel like it doesn't like grade 4s seem like units that you're supposed to use to push for a game, and it kind of does the opposite in that it pushes the enemy's push for game kind of backwards by taking you back a lot, damage. So been kind of working on a Genesis deck. Don't know how I like it right now, but because there's no obvious waifu material in there, I don't know how motivated I am with it.
I see. -2 marks apparently to G4 for not having waifus in Genesis. I haven't gotten to play Genesis or Angel Feather much, but I did get to play Mega Colony, and I did get to mess around a little bit with some of the new shadows and the new Gear Chronicle. The main big thing was the Legion rares in this set. Gear Chronicle got Next Stage, and Shadow Paladin got Orgeyser Doomed. Orgeyser Doomed, as far as I can tell, is a flop as a G rare. Would you say that's true, Ash?
Yeah, screwed me over. I would say screwed me over financially. Sucks that I also didn't get the big pack as well.
Yeah, and it's not that Doomed is not playable, but you only need 2 if you're going to run them at all, and you have to be running Orgeyser the first. So it doesn't mesh well with PBD PBA, which is still a completely functional Shadow Paladin build, and it doesn't mesh well with Abyss, which is another, or with Diablo, which is another very functional Shadow Paladin build. I feel like a lot of this set ended up kind of it's one really good regional away from being viable, but a lot of the cards kind of took a hit in price after the first week because there was no major event that went, oh, by the way, Mega Colony Smash, or, something like that. Also, in that set, the other G-Rare was Next Stage. And Next Stage is vastly profitable. It seems very, very good. And you absolutely need to have 2 in your deck. And one of our players this week, I was so happy for him because I couldn't sell him Next Stages. I didn't have them. I had already sold out of mine. And he was looking for Next Stages and trying to get them, and he just couldn't get them anywhere. He and his friend, he went second place in the tournament with a Ragnarok deck that did not have Next Stage in it. And out of his second place packs, he pulled a Next Stage. So next week, he'll have the 2 Next Stages he needs to try it as a Next Stage deck. So I thought that was cool.
I think it sucks that I think it sucks that it seems for Gear Chronicle to be really competitive right now. I'm not saying that you can't win without it, but to really be competitive, you really need next stages.
Well, like other decks in the past have been that way. We were talking earlier about how any Bermuda deck, no matter how good or bad it is, should be running Olivia if they really want to have a competitive edge.
Well, yeah, but at least with Bermuda, you have the advantage of you're just going to be buying a set with just Bermuda cards anyway. Whereas if you don't play the other clans as Gear Chronicle, for example, with GB4, I think Next Edge is like the only Gear Chronicle thing in the set anyway. It's really worth going for.
The thing about the clan argument for me is it seems to me that anyone who is not playing a clan that's in a clan booster plays multiple clans. So, like, if you're playing Bermuda, you pretty strictly play Bermuda. Dimension Police players are kind of the same, not quite. And the groups that have gotten clan boosters up to this point, which is pretty much those 2, they stay within the realms of just what their one clan is. But people who are forced to buy out of the bigger boxes tend to have 3 or 4 decks, and they're different clans. So a Next Stage player they're probably not only playing Gears. They're probably also playing Shadow Paladins, or Mega Colony, or Angel Feather, or Royals, or something like that. That's not in this set, but was in the last Gear Chronicle set. And as long as they keep making new clans, that notion is going to stick around. That players who stay within clan boosters are pretty much only going to get those clan boosters. and the players that play multiple box groups will play multiple decks.
Mm-hmm.
Does that fit your experience with it, Makuto?
Yep.
Words of wisdom from Makuto. Well,
was I supposed to add to that? I'm confused.
I don't know. Is there anything that you can add?
No.
Okay. Then I won't bug you to do so. What about you,
Yeah,
Ash?
thank you.
I think it's fair to say.
Okay. While we're talking about half sets, we've got 3 coming up. Technically 4, even half sets of Vanguard before we hit G5 in January. So let's first talk about Token Rambu. Okay, so Ash, what's your experience with Token Rambu so far?
I'm not interested. I think maybe the cards look interesting, but it's an all-male set, so I ain't touch it.
Yep. And what about you? What about you, Makuto?
I think it's pretty cool. I know all the cards are based on swords. It's basically what's it called, Kantai, except instead of girls with ships, it's just men represent swords.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah.
It's a premise. So, and swords are cool. So I have no problem. With it. I don't plan on getting any big sets or big sets of them. I know we were supposed to get some. What do you call them? Those boxes you get, preview boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're supposed to get 2 of them or something. Yeah, sneak peek. I think we're supposed to get 2 of them, and Vu said I was supposed to buy 1 or something. So I guess I'll do that. But other than that, I'm not gonna just buy a whole bunch.
Okay.
But I wouldn't mind making a deck if I had good enough cards.
Yeah. Well, I'll talk about it then. One of the things I absolutely adore the artwork, the background of this set. I think they did a really good job of making every card look pretty. It almost makes me interested in checking out the actual Token Rambu thing. If it weren't a completely Japanese game, I probably would. But one of the issues I have with the set right now, which makes me sad, is the hype of the set has gone down dramatically in a way that I was not expecting to see overnight, you know. So there are 3 versions of the deck that you're going to be able to play in Token Rambu. There's the Shiken abilities, the Shiken Hisatsu, which is basically Limit Break 3. There is the Homare abilities, which are also being called the MVP abilities. And those are you can only use any ability with Homare once per turn. So if one character has one Homare ability and another has a different one, you can only use one of them. But the effect is usually super good. Uh-oh, we've got reverb going.
Oh, is it?
Yep. And then the third one is a stride deck, where you rely on the most powerful strides to do the work that you need them to do. I really like this set. I think that if I could find 2 people who were brave enough to go in 3 ways with me on this set, I would buy a case, I'd make my deck, help them make their decks, and sell the rest of the stuff going. But the problem is that as many people as that want to try it, nobody wants to commit to any pre-orders. Like there was a lot of hype, everyone was really excited, I had a couple people telling me, yes, I want this, yes, I want that. And now I have a lot of people saying, well, I'm gonna get boxes. I'm gonna try, but I'm not gonna get specific singles the week of, because Fighters Collection 15 winner has been announced, and there's not going to be any token Rambu cards in this expansion. And I think that was a grave mistake on Bushiroad's part.
I think it was a stupid expectation from the player base. I mean, Token Rambu was supposed to be kind of a special promotional set anyway. They did give it enough cards to where it would stay relevant in the meta. So it didn't need anything from Winter 2015. And really, the licensing cost for them, like, they wouldn't be able to... I don't think Token Rambu is like a license that they can mix with their actual Cardfight stuff. It's kind of like a Stranger. They're not going to print a Stranger cards with any regular cards. It's going to be its own separate thing. So I think if we get any more Token Rambu in the future, it's going to either have to be its own set, which I doubt it's going to have enough cards for, or it's going to have to be promos of some sort.
Well, see, this is the thing that I was thinking. What kept them from saying keeping Hitofuri and Kuninaga out of the main set and putting it into Fighters Collection 2015, just so that people felt like there was going to be some expectation of continuance? Because the way I see it is that since Token Rambu is an online game, by the time they come around a year or so, they're going to have made a lot of updates, which means there could surely be an update to the card fight thing. I don't think that Vanguard approached Rambu and said, we want to do a specialty set based on your game. I think Rambu approached Bushiroad and said, we want to be involved with a promotional thing crossing into one of your card games, and they decided that Vanguard was the place to be. Because this could have just as easily been a Weishort set, and it would have made perfect sense for it to be a one-and-done Weishort set. So I have a feeling they're expecting another year to go by and for there to be updates. What do you think?
I don't know if I would agree with that. But I guess it all depends on sales.
And that's the big thing, is that players need to understand that if sales look bleak because people are worried about a continuance, then that's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's like, if you're afraid to buy it because you don't think it's going to get a second set, then sales plummet, and then there's not a second set. Like, you can't even plan out a second set if the first one doesn't sell well.
I feel the set is very Japanese. Like, the Japanese people are going to love it. And
I think that's true, for sure.
The English people aren't going to like it so much, like the English players. I don't know. It could do really well there, and that would drive a second set just from Japan alone. But
yeah, maybe. I hope so.
It would be nice if enough people would get interested in it and pick it up. But
yep. So personally, I'll be picking up a few boxes, maybe a sneak peek, and then I'll see how my customers react to having Token Rambu on the shelves. If they keep buying it, we'll keep buying it. If not, then we won't. But I probably won't pick up singles for anything other than my deck unless I have a buyer already online for them. Because it's scary when people are like, yeah, I want to play it, but I don't want to waste money. And the term waste money, I think, is very subjective in this particular topic. Because if you're getting a deck that's S tier and relevant, even if it's S tier and relevant for 4 months, $200, $300 is not unheard of to spend on an S tier deck that's relevant for 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of players, they don't think about that when they're buying their S tier Link Joker Shadow Paladin decks. But then when it comes to Bermudas, they're like, how come the price of Bermudas didn't go down? It's like, because their relevance didn't go down. They're still good. And everyone who wants them has them.
And Bushiroad's kind of being smarter with the print runs right now. Like, at this point, Fighters 2015 Winter is about to come out in a couple months, 2 months or so, 2 3 months. And we don't have any reprints for 2015, the original. And at this point, it doesn't look like there's going to be, because there's almost no point in them doing it. But because of that, there's, in a sense, a shortage of certain grade 4s, which has really pushed the price of some of them up and stabilized the price of others, which is a good thing, I guess, for the aftermarket. And in general, with the Bermuda set, it looks like we're on the second print run right now, and I don't think there's going to be a third print run. And it creates kind of a shortage of cards. So, like they did that with the prior Bermuda set, and it went out of print right before Academy hit, and all the cards went up in price. So.
Yep, and I think that's very good. The secondary market needs Bushiroad to be conscious of this this kind of effect. While we're on that topic, Vanguard and Deleter. Okay, so there's a second comic style coming out, and they're avoiding everything they can to call it Comic Style Volume 2, but that's what it is. And it's called Vanguard and Deleter. It's going to have Royals cards and Link Joker cards. The Royal cards are going to be playing toward an Alfred deck with a bunch of different blasters to make blaster support finally happen. And then it has a bunch of Link Jokers that are entirely devoted to Deleters. Now, from what I understand, there's some alternate win condition with Deleters.
Yeah, isn't it if you delete something you win?
It's something similar to that. I don't have the setup in front of me currently, but there's definitely an alternate win combo having to do with deleting and locking a certain number of things, and it's all inside of that new set. Which Vanguard and Deleter, it looks like a solid set for people who are looking for a boost to their Link Joker Deleter decks and their Vanguard, their Royal Paladin decks. So what the effect is one of the strides has a G-Break 2 effect that if your heart is a deleter, delete all your opponent's Vanguards, choose one rear guard in their back row and lock it, choose a card from their drop zone, and banish delete it. Now, I believe banish delete is like a permanent bind zone. Basically, it's removed from game, it never comes back. And then if the number of cards in your opponent's damage zone is 4 or more, and the number of face-down cards in their bind zone is 13 or more, you win the game. So it's counting on you banish, deleting, and binding a ton of cards. But if you do, it's an auto win at 4 damage, which is a big deal. Yeah, banish delete, which is written as bind is face down. So it binds a card face down permanently. So that's kind of cool. You can't use it in conjunction with new Atama stuff because that all binds face up. But there's definitely some combo to be had there. I think this set's interesting. I know that there are players of mine who are planning to split a case. I wish them luck because this is the first deleter support that deleters have gotten since they were made, and I'm not certain there's going to be more. So we'll see. You know. So, should we talk about the Aquaforce clan booster that's coming out?
We might as well mention it.
Okay, so Aquaforce is getting a clan booster. It's going to have some good stuff, but I think the most potent thing to mention about it is what Ash was talking to me earlier about the Generation Rare. Why don't you tell them what we were talking about?
So the Generation Rare for the new Aquaforce is the new Grade 4 Thavis. So they've been doing a lot of the, make the old trial deck Grade 3s into Grade 4s, which is interesting concept because it kind of reminds me of the whole Pokemon thing where you have a starter and then it kind of evolves with you and you keep it throughout the game. So in a sense, you get a new player into Vanguard with a new trial deck, and then they have like a clear goal to go for. So like I bought the Thavis trial deck. So now I should probably try to get his next form, which I think kind of appeals to children in a way as well, and kind of gets them on a clear path. So the Commander of the Incessant Waves is the next Aquaforce set. It has a GR, of course, like all the sets are nowadays. And what he does is he's a once a turn, choose a copy of himself from G Zone, turn it face up, choose 2 rear guards to get +5. And actually it's 1 rear guard. It gets +5, and it can attack from the back row, and it also gets Generation Break 3 Wave 4. When a unit attacks a Vanguard, choose 3 of your opponent's Vanguards or rear guards. Your opponent chooses one of them and retires it. So it's not necessarily a bad ability. The problem is though it is a late game stride. And that's not what Aquaforce needs. If you're an Aquaforce player, you pretty much know that you're not going to play competitive Aquaforce at this point without Lambros. Because Lambros, even turn 1 stride, I believe, you can use it to stand 2 units. And if you use it mid to late game, you can use it to give those 2 units +10k as well. So there's no point that you would ever run this, even in a Thavis Center deck, over Lambros. You might run them together, but then you're gonna get some mixed results, and it might be good to put 2 of these in your stride deck just so you have some options. But you're gonna want to keep 4 Lambroses regardless because Lambros is just too good. This does do something good for the normal Aquaforce player though. I don't think Thavis is going to be worth much money. Who knows though? I mean, competitive play can change a lot of things, and if someone manages to win a tournament with it, more power to them, and it makes the price goes up. But the way it is right now, I don't think its price is going to be anywhere close to Lambros, which is like a $40, $50 card. And since it's a GR, it's going to be much rarer. We're talking about maybe 5 copies in a case of 24 boxes. So there's not going to be many of the Thavises in the market. So it's going to have some price just because of that, but we're really going to have enough players buying it. And the good thing is that because it's a GR, you have more of the triples and the doubles, which are really, I think, what makes this set shine.
I think that's true. Actually, I thinking about Aquaforce and the fact that the Legion Rare isn't quite as good. I've been thinking about the clan boosters as a whole and what they're trying to accomplish with it, and versus what is actually happening. Because I feel like what they're trying to do is give people who play clans, single clans, a chance to beef out their decks and give other people a chance to build new decks and experience that thrill on a lower cost idea. So, in order to build an Aquaforce deck out of the clan booster, buy a couple boxes of the clan booster and you can build something. But if you're already building Aquaforce, it can help fine-tune some of the better attributes of your own deck. Or if you really like Genovius, Geno gets a stride. Things that are useful for that clan. But one of the things I wanted to do, since Aquaforce doesn't really thrill me, I kind of want to talk about the Pale Moon decks. But Makuto, I want to talk to you about the Pale Moon deck.
Why me?
Okay, last Podversation, we had a thing where it was like, sell it to Diesel. And we had a moment where they were talking about Hearthstone as if they were trying to get me to play it.
Oh, okay. But now you're playing, so...
Yeah. I want to do the same thing with you with this Pale Moon deck.
Okay.
So, for those people out there who don't know, Makuto only plays Bermudas. It's the only clan he plays in Vanguard. Otherwise, he plays Weishorts or Hearthstone, but he picks one deck and he sticks with it all the time. Now, Minner, what if I told you that they're coming out with a Pale Moon starter deck that is not going to be related to the Silver Thorns that exist, so you don't need to pick up old Pale Moon stuff to make it relevant, but it's supposedly going to get support in a couple sets that makes it a competitive style of deck.
Now, does Pale Moon, is it like a clan booster, or is it like a set?
Okay, so the thing that's coming out right now is going to be just a trial deck.
Right.
But they haven't said one way yet or another whether it's going to come, whether support's going to come in a regular box and they're going to try to make it a main clan, or if they're going to separate it into a clan booster. So right now you're basing your judgment off of what you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll pass.
Yeah?
I don't know if I want to spend any more money on Vanguard. I bought my Bermudas and I'm happy with them. I'm just waiting on my Pacific grade 4s, really.
Oh, and your token Rambu.
Yeah, that too, yeah.
Yeah. Now, am I missing something, Vu? Is that the general consensus of what's happening with the Pale Moon deck?
I think that now I've only really watched there's 2 episodes out, so half of the new G-Gears Crisis anime. And from what the product lineup looks like, and the fact that it looks like they're moving Pale Moons back to triple rare cards, and the trial deck, and the new character, I think what they're trying to do is make it a main clan. Now, I do like the idea of making these kind of off clans, main clans, because it gives them more support, and because they get more screen time on the anime as well. Hopefully that it gets more players into them as well. I felt like it did a lot of good things for Gear Chronicle. It really helped it kind of push from the start. Because when they did Aquaforce, Leon was pretty much an antagonist when they revealed it. And it's like, oh, you play Aquaforce, but you're playing the evil clan, so do you really want to do that? And then he kind of became delegated to a side character. And they kind of pushed it back up to the forefront again with Jamie, which is kind of why I feel like they introduced Jamie. Well, one, for a multicultural, multicolored main character, but the other one is to make a new character that doesn't play bad Aquaforce or so, if the anime is to be believed. So, the new girl Luna is the new Pale Moon player, it seems. It looks like they're going to make her a main character starting with this season. I don't think that this whole main character thing has worked out too well for Tokuha, though, in the sense that probably Neonectar is a bit too complicated for a lot of the people to play. Like, I feel like Neo Nectar requires a little bit more complicated plays than, say, Gear Chronicle or Royals, which are the other two main decks. Kind of Aquaforce still. So it's been mixed results with Neo Nectar front, I think. But on the other sides, I think it's been very successful. And yeah, I think Pale Moon would make a great main character thing, though it might fall into the same thing that Neo Nectar does, in that it kind of has some complicated plays.
I can see that. That would make sense. But I don't know if I like the idea. With the way Pale Moon plays, it would be really hard to get the main audience interested in playing it as a top tier deck. They'd have to water it down or something, or make it out of control strong with the hard technical aspect in order for it to be played competitively. And I always hate to see it when clans get shifted to make them quote unquote more playable, They did the same thing with Mega Colony. It's like, well, we made Mega Colony, and then we gave it some support, and then we made Link Joker, which at the time was just a strict upgrade from Mega Colony. And now Mega Colony they're trying to make better, but it's changing a lot of the focus to give it better draw engines and to give it extra abilities so that they can't intercept as well, and they can't restand their Vanguard. But I mean, it has to evolve, but in some ways, it's watering down the technical aspects of playing Mega Colony, Because rather than playing the toxic guy that makes it so your opponent can't intersect, you just have a creature that stuns it, makes it so that it can't intercept, and if it's on your opponent's field at the end of the turn, rested, you get to draw a card. All three of those things off of one card rather than having to work together as a team.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just how I feel about it. So, anything to add on Pale Moons, on Vanguard Deleter, on Aquaforce, anything that we've talked about so far?
I think that if anyone who plays Aquaforce should not miss having the Aquaforce set. I'm not saying you gotta buy a case or anything, but because you don't really want the GR, unless you do, more power to you. But you can.
You don't want it, but if you do, I mean, I'm not gonna stop you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll sell you any that I get. Haha.
Yeah.
But it's a very good buy. If you don't want to buy packs, I really recommend getting a single. It makes the clan really strong. It introduces a whole nother, like the Blue Wave, which is Leon's new units. You get the Blue Wave, you get the Maelstrom support, the Thavis support, the Genovia support, and some generic cards. So it's a pretty strong set from what I'm seeing, and I'm very surprised. Actually, in general, the clan boosters have been very good, I think. So.
Okay, I don't want to spend a long time on it, but Fighters Collection has been announced. We've seen some spoilers, so let's briefly touch on that. First, as background, Fighters Collection Winter is coming out in around Christmas time, early December.
January.
Or it could be as late as January. They have on the website. They say, what do they say? It's January 6th, so just after Christmas. Which is, I don't think that's the best time to release it, but I mean, it's their life. It contains 48 cards, we know, which means there will probably be 2 cards from each of the 24 clans. It'll be 47 new cards and 1 reprint with new artwork.
That's the Pacifica.
Yeah. And then it's going to be just like normal Fighters Collection stuffs. the 3 cards a pack and 10 packs per box. So the cards that we've seen from it so far are Pacifica, Twinkle Happiness Pacifica, a Witch for Shadow Paladins, a Night Mist Stride for Grand Blue, a Star Vader for Link Joker, a Grade 1 Star Vader for Link Joker, and a Grade 3 for Dark Irregulars that works with Bladewing Reiji, called Bladewing Sullivan. Of the cards that have been announced, the only one that I'm slightly interested in is the Dark Irregular one and the Witch. I don't think... so far they've shown some stuff that could be really cool, but if it's not... Like, Bladewing Sullivan is not going to be popular with the regular Dark Irregular player. They're not going to waste the time to try to get the soul up to 15. But I really like his effect, so don't judge me.
Anyway.
And then the Witch, I think, will put Shadow Paladin Witches back as a relevant deck type for a while. A lot of people don't like it because it takes getting grade 0s on their board, so you have to pretty much strictly play Shadow Witches. But
one for OTT Witches in the same set.
Yeah, yep. But the at the beginning of the guard step that the unit was attacked, you may pay a cost, choose any number of cards from your hand, call them at rest. Oh yeah, that's right. The new Stride, the Witch Stride, is a version of Still Vampire. So it makes it so that your opponent has to replace their Vanguard with a grade 0 from amongst the top 10 cards of their deck. Now the downside is that if they miss for whatever reason, they don't have a 0 in the top 10 cards of their deck, you lose. That you just wasted everything that you had to try to make this happen. But it is interesting. It's fun. I think that it'll see some play. I don't know. Is there anything that we should really talk about with Fighters Collection right now?
Well, there's too early to say because there's not been a lot revealed about it, but I'm definitely going to be buying into it. I don't know if it's going to be a case, but definitely get some boxes. Just because I was so burned on 2014, I pretty much skipped 2015, which was quite a mistake on my part.
Somewhat of a misplay, one might say.
Yeah, you pretty much can't get a sealed box most anywhere, not for a decent price anyway. And all the singles of, I'm not going to say they're super expensive, but they've pretty much retained value. And it doesn't look like that we're going to get a reprint of it at all. So.
Yeah. And, I like the last Fighters Collection. I hope that this one is as powerful as the last one. But until we see more cards, I don't think there's much to say. What do you think, Makuto?
Yeah.
Will you be buying the 2 Bermuda cards that come out of
Yeah.
Fighters Collection? All right.
Well, they have Pacifica, which I'm looking forward to, so I can finish my Pacifica deck, and then I don't even know what the other card is, but I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah, if it's Bermudas, it can't be that bad.
Yeah.
All
as
right.
long as you take stuff off the field, I'm happy.
So, we're almost at the end of the show today, but we got a couple minutes left, and I actually want to go back to something that we started discussing at the beginning of the podcast, which was microtransactions. So, like I said, I started Hearthstone. Makuto also started Hearthstone, and Ash is playing League. I have put in a little bit of money into Hearthstone. I bought the Curse of Naxxramas raid expansion so that I could play the computer and gain a little more experience playing before I started playing ranked. And I really liked it. I thought it was super fun. I thought it was totally worth the money that I put into it. Makuto, you've also spent money on Hearthstone.
Yeah, I bought a hunter skin, I guess you can call it. It's just like a different card, like a starter.
So for those of you who don't play Hearthstone, you pick a class that you've built a deck around, and your class has a particular ability, kind of like the ruler in Force of Will or the Vanguard or the starter Vanguard in Vanguard. There's a portrait of a character that exists for your class, and the 9 classes all have regular ones, but if you want to, you can buy a customized skin that's a portrait of a different character, and like the little things they say are different, but it's still that class. So Minter plays Hunter.
It looks different.
Yeah, but Minter plays Hunter, but rather than having the plebe orc hunter that the rest of us have, he has a pretty night elf girl as his hunter. So he makes
something about elves, and don't mess with them.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I didn't want to spend a lot of money, and I figured if I was going to be playing for any amount of time, $10 was a good enough. Felt like a good enough range for me.
Mm-hmm. And I'm a very similar way, except I only bought the practical. I bought something that would open up cards and give me more gameplay. I rarely do things with skins, but even I was tempted to pick up Medivh to be my mage instead of Jaina.
Yeah.
Just because I really like Medivh. Like, he's a really cool character. But I didn't want him enough to spend $10 on him yet. So we'll see how things go. All right, and so Ash, you were telling us that you spent quite a bit on League of Legends. What kind of things did you pick up? Like, what's important microtransactions in League of Legends?
Skins, essentially. I think it's like they maybe release one hero every quarter of the year at this point. So it's not like there's been one new hero since I've come back, which has been it's interesting. But in general, I think a lot of the appeal of League, at least microtransactions, is going to be the skins. So you could change the characters, and a lot of them are pretty interesting references to things. You know, they have like new voices sometimes, and really, because so many people play the game, I think that one of the, at least the psychological things about buying skins for League is that you show off kind of your swag to everybody. Because it's players, so a lot of people are going to see it.
I get it. So other than being like a sort of a status icon where it's like I could afford to get the skin, there's also the notion that with so many people playing, you want to differentiate yourself from the rest of the pack.
Mm-hmm.
So you might not get the most popular skin, you get the one that uniquely you like the best.
I'd say that's a fair assumption.
Okay. Right on. Well, as far as microtransactions go, I'm going to warn our audience out there, be very careful about your expenditure on microtransactions. One of the things that can hurt someone new to internet gaming the most is when they get onto Steam or any other sort of thing that sells stuff online, and you see it for so cheap, you're like, oh, it's $1.37 for this game, and it's $2.38 for this game, and you just start picking them up one at a time, not thinking about it, and before you know it, you've spent $120 on 50 games that you're never going to be able to play. Yeah, like you're never going to have the time in the world to make all those things matter, you know. And especially for like online card games, like Makuto and I playing Hearthstone, it's so easy to think in this situation. A 60 packs online of Hearthstone costs $70. So that means we're basically 2 boxes of product are worth half as much as an actual box of cards. And if you're thinking in that logic frame, it's so easy to blow $70 every couple weeks on electronic goods. But you have to be wary because some people might do that, and you get a lot of cards and you might get a lot of play out of them. But unlike a regular card game, when you're done and there's nothing to show for it. Like with a regular card game, if you finish, you could potentially sell your wares. And maybe it's only at 1/8 of the price, but at least it exists. Any thoughts on that, Ash?
Yeah, I think that's the big thing. I think that's the big thing that keeps people out of, I guess, digital stuff initially, because there's nothing to show for it. And depending on what you invest into, it could keep you out of it kind of semi-permanently. I know that there's been a number of people who, like, their first transactions are usually like a small company, and the game or the company goes under, and then, all of a sudden you have nothing. It's a bit safer with things like League of Legends and Hearthstone and in general, because Blizzard's a big company. They're not really going to go under unless you get too many bad mistakes from them. And even then, I think World of Warcraft at this point still has enough players for them to keep the company afloat, just the game alone. And Hearthstone's becoming one of their big products as well. With League of Legends, it's Riot Games' only product, and also the most popular game in the world, so it's going to be good for a while. But I think that's the problem with digital in general, though.
I think that's fair. One of the things I heard recently was Blizzard, World of Warcraft lost something like 300,000 subscribers in like a quarter. And that is a lot of subscribers to us. But I think it's something to think about, the fact that World of Warcraft has had 12 million subscribers, or 14 million subscribers, and then recently lost 300,000.
Mm-hmm.
That means they lost less than 3% of their total people playing, which it is a lot. But when you take in that large scale of focus, 300,000 accounts could be the accounts of 150,000 people who were just playing with their girlfriends and then just were like, we haven't really played a lot recently. Let's chill out, So I think it's good to remember that even when things look bad, they might not be as bad as we, the public, make it out to be. Because when I saw that, people were like, is this the end of Blizzard and MMOs and World of Warcraft? And it's like, no, they've still got 13.5 million subscribers. They're fine. Everybody's good. So yeah, I would definitely say if you're going to invest in the online goods, make sure it's with a company that you know has staying power. And if you are just trying to support a company that's coming out because you like their game, just know that there's risk involved in that, but you did what you wanted to do. You know, like just make sure that you're following your goals. And don't be worried about it if you come out 8 months later with not a lot of stuff except good times to remember. Sometimes good times are worth a little bit of money. Isn't that right, Makuto?
Yep.
OP. OP. All right. Well, I think that closes out tonight's Podversation. Any closing thoughts from the group?
Nope.
All right. Well, once again, this is Diesel here with Ash.
Yep.
And Makuto.
And Makuto. And we will see you guys as soon as we can. Have a
Peace
good night,
out.
everybody.
Yeah.